So it seems as if there is some kind of a misunderstanding, or maybe I can say a fight, or I don't know if I should call it a fight, between men of God and gospel ministers, right? So we are going to be getting right into the bottom of this whole issue, and I'm going to be explaining what I think at the end of the video, but I would also want to hear what you guys think. But there's a very, very, very interesting topic here, where ministers of the gospel or gospel ministers, people who are into gospel music, and the pastors or the prophets or the apostles who are into ministering the word of God, there's an issue of charging. There are gospel ministers who are charging for them to go and minister in some churches, or to go and minister in conferences or whatever, and then there are others who are not charging, and there's a very, very big issue that is coming up, and there are a lot of revelations that are coming. So in this video, we're going to be listening to some of the gospel ministers, and also we are going to be listening to some prophets and pastors and apostles who are going to be explaining their own side of the story as well. So let's get right into it.
How can you say you are a psalmist and then you now have 7 backup singers? You have uniform, you are traveling on business class, charging people 5 million to come and perform. It's actually performance. The other day they told me one was charging 20 million, and now said, how much did they put the whole conference together?
You see, so this is a man of God who is also talking about this. He was charged 20 million naira, I think, because he's from Nigeria. He was charged 20 million for a gospel musician to come and perform at his church. So now this is Minister Nathaniel Bassey saying something as well.
Not that I don't want to charge. I have things to do. I just told you $2,000 for strings. My children go to school and they don't tell me, come and sing Onisha Yanu. In fact, what?
You see, now he's saying, my children, if they are going to school, the school doesn't say, oh, come and minister at our school so that we don't, you don't have to pay. They need money.
I go there. The school uses me for advert. He said, Nathaniel Bassey comes here to our children. Then people go there because we come there. But I still pay the school fees. Look at our...
Now, here's what Pastor Chris said about this whole thing.
The music, those who they used to call the music ministers, they act like the world. Is that what you want them to teach your people? We allowed it for a long time. Until the Lord instructed me not only to stop it, but to let God's people know it's got to stop.
So this is now an issue. Pastor Chris is saying God actually spoke to him about it, and he was told that it has to stop. This whole thing of music ministers acting like it's in the world. He was talking about this whole issue of ministers saying, you need to pay me for me to come and minister. If you want me to do this, please pay me. So let's get deeper. This one is going to be very interesting. After Pastor Chris spoke about this, another man of God also spoke about this. Anyone could see that he was pissed off when he spoke about this. He actually encountered a music minister who also said they needed to be paid. Let's hear what he had to say.
How can you say you are a psalmist and then you now have 7 backup singers? You have uniform, you are traveling on business class, charging people 5 million to come and perform. It's actually performance. The other day they told me one was charging 20 million, and now said, how much did they put the whole conference together?
I think you guys can hear this whole issue now. He charged 5 million, and he said someone actually said they are charging 20 million for them to come and perform. 20 million. How much is that? Let me check. 5 million naira in dollars. 5 million naira in dollars. So 5 million naira in dollars is around 6,455. That's around $6,500 for them to come and minister at a conference. 6,500. And he said another one is charging 20 million naira. Let's check. 20 million naira in dollars. What? $25,823. That's around $26,000. That's a lot of money. So I think that's why this man of God was very, very pissed off with this whole thing. Let's continue.
If they have to give you 20 million for coming to sing for 10 minutes, even God knows that some of us will not make that mistake. Because I know God does not hear melody. God hears spirit. And if there's no spirit in you, there's nothing here.
And then this is another man of God also. He's complaining about this whole thing as well. Let's hear what he had to say.
I know a man of God, a mentor, who invited one of the gospel musicians. They are gospel musicians, not ministers.
Did you hear what he said? He said gospel musicians, not ministers. So it seems as if now they are now giving some kind of a line. They are now putting a line between a gospel musician and a gospel minister. A gospel musician and a gospel minister. Is there a difference? Can you tell me in the comment section? Do you think there's a difference between a gospel musician and a gospel minister? Please continue watching this. We are getting somewhere.
And what this guy called, I think it's 5 million naira.
5 million naira, that's around 6,000.
How much should the guest speaker, the priest who they brought to minister, how much will he take? How much does...
So you see what he said? He said, how much will the preacher, the guest, how much will he take? So there's an issue of, seems as if there's an issue of sharing the money now. You see? It's like the gospel minister wants to take $6,500 US dollars from this. And, you know, he said, the guest, how much will he take? So it seems as if there's money that the guest has to take. I don't know if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, please feel free to correct me in the comments. But it seems as if there's something that he's talking about here. He's saying, so if you are a minister, you're just a gospel minister, you're going to be coming and singing for 10 minutes, you want to take 6,500. How about the guy who is coming to minister? So it seems as if there's now an issue, there's now a tug of war, an issue of who is going to take more. So they are now complaining. In other words, they are complaining that the music ministers are now taking more money instead of, I don't know who is supposed to take more money. Let's continue.
Does it cost to organize the whole program? How much did they spend? We've traveled to programs where I'll be the one to pay for all my men. And then we'll go there, come back, we'll take 1 naira from them. Nobody anywhere can say, I invited Prophet Joel and he told me that before I come, give us this money. I go there sometime, I'm the one who is paying the hotel bill for them.
So he's now saying, as for me, I don't charge anybody. That's what he's talking about. He's a minister. He's now a prophet, apostle, I don't know. But he is saying, as for me, I don't charge. I've been to places where I'm the one who pays for the hotels. But you know what? There's something that I think here. If you are saying you're the one who actually pays for the hotel, it means you can afford it, right? You can afford it. How about the other men of God who can't afford? So should they not go and minister somewhere else simply because they cannot afford? I don't know. It's just a question that I'm just posing. I think you guys can also let me know what you think. Let's continue.
I can proudly say that. I know this thing, when it comes out, they will hate it. But I won't apologize. You are fake. Go and pray if what I'm saying is wrong. Let the Holy Ghost tell you. Do not provide a pause for yourself.
So he's condemning this. He's condemning the idea of gospel ministers charging. He's condemning the idea of gospel ministers charging. So, I don't know. We are still getting somewhere. Let's listen to this. Now, let's hear Pastor Nathaniel Bassey. He is one of the most popular gospel musicians in Africa, or maybe I can say in the world. So let's hear what he had to say about this whole thing as well.
When they say, okay, how much you charge? You say, no, well, based on conviction, we do not charge any money. Not that we don't want money. So while we minister to you with our carnal gift, Paul says, if I minister you with my spiritual gift, shouldn't you minister to us in your carnal gift?
You see now, he is saying he doesn't charge. That is basically what he's saying. He's saying he doesn't charge. But he's also talking about, this scripture, 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 11 said, if we have sown unto you spiritual things, is it a great thing if we shall reap your carnal things? So I think here Paul was trying to say, if you can minister to you spiritual things, you can also give us some things, carnal things, probably money, cars, etc. You can give us. You see, so I think that is the whole idea of where Minister Bassey is like traveling around. He's trying to say that you have to give me something. If you can give me something, I'll accept it. You understand? Because he said, not that we don't want money. We want money, but you can give us, but we don't charge you. That is what he's trying to say.
So that's why he said to the church in Philippi, he said, "You are the only one who has communicated to me as regards giving and receiving. Therefore, my God shall." So we tell people we don't require it as a condition to come, but we welcome your giving.
So we don't like really require it, but we welcome it. You understand? This is where he's coming from. So in other words, it's like some kind of a charity thing. That if we do this, if you want, you can give us. It's not like we are forcing you. You can give us. You know, we actually want you to give us. But if you can't give us, then it's fine. But still, we want you to give us. We would really want you to give us. You see, something like that. One is Minister Dunsin Oyekan. I don't really know. I haven't heard his music. But this is what he had to say about this whole thing as well.
Okay, so for me, the tokens of my calling don't allow that I charge.
You see that? He's saying, as for me, I charge. You know, the tokens of my ministry allow me to charge.
I remember God telling me the day you start charging.
You see, he's saying, I remember God telling me that I should start charging. So some are saying, I've heard God saying, don't charge. You know, Pastor Chris actually said it. He said, God said we should not allow it. We should tell the children of God to stop. Right? And then we have the other guy is saying, God told me to charge.
The well will dry up. Clearly. In as much as I don't go into why are you charging, everybody with his own dealings with God. But my dealing with God does not allow me.
Interesting. We need to understand something. This is a ministry. Every ministry requires money. You understand? Every ministry requires money. I'm not trying to justify the people who charge or justify the people who are not charging, but just saying something that I think, much as we can say these guys are charging too much, but we need to also understand that there are expenses. If they have got a backing, the team, that one that the man of God was talking about, that you now have a team and they're wearing uniforms. Yes, for them to be presentable. Do you want them to come to your church without having, nice clothes? Do you want them to be like that? Is it what you want them to be like? All right. So how are they going to be coming to your country? Let's say they are in another country. They want to go to Zimbabwe. They are coming from Nigeria. Are they going to fly Emirates and say, we are ministers, give us this thing. We want to get into the plane. No, they can't. They need money. Right? And when they come, remember they also have their children. They also have their daily lives. Even if we say they are ministers, they still have their own lives, right? So some of them are doing this full time, just like what pastors and apostles are also doing. They are also doing this full time. And some of them, they justify themselves saying, I'm supposed to be getting the tithe, I'm supposed to be getting the offerings and all those things. But the ministers, they don't get the tithe. So since they are not getting the tithe, where will they get the money for them to travel? There are a lot of inconveniences and consequences of traveling without money. And this is what Minister Nathaniel Bassey is now talking about. There's an example. There's a perfect example of what really happens if you travel without money. If you are saying these guys are going to be giving us the money, they are going to be giving us the money. There are consequences to this. And here is an example.
I've gone to my wife to Côte d'Ivoire, packed the stadium. They charged tickets. It's not as it was a ticketed event, but we went there because the person said Côte d'Ivoire is a Muslim nation and we want to bring the kingdom of them down. There's never been anything like this, so Israel Houghton, myself, I think it was on the papers, Donny, Nico Moulin, everybody packed in there, all right? Big promises to everybody. And before the meeting, it was a real warfare because the guys, they didn't want him to do it. 2 weeks to the time, he was paralyzed. He
was paralyzed. Hey.
Organizer, but they still wanted to go ahead. And a few minutes to the time, the organizers came to us. And before that meeting, I'd flown my team to Kenya. I know this is what we tell people. So we went to Kenya with the team. I flew them there, and not charging by faith. When there, we didn't know the people, we went by faith. We finished, no offering, no nothing. And
You hear that? No offering, no nothing. He used his money to go to Kenya to travel. All right. Now he is a very good minister, and everybody all over Africa, all over the world, they would like to have him in their church. And then he says, I'm not going to be charging you. And then he goes to Kenya, and then there is no offering, no nothing. He used his own money. What if he didn't have the money? What was going to happen? You see now?
And every time that happens, I bear the brunt. Because I tell my team, I'm the one that has the revelation. You're not the one to suffer for it. So we take care of them. So we're coming back from a place where we had no dime. Then we went to Côte d'Ivoire, and again by faith. And a few minutes to the time, we said, sorry, there's not going to be an offering. We can't afford anymore. I told my team, we're here. I said, we're not going to minister any less. We'll fire on all cylinders. We finished from the airport, from the stadium. There was no protocol car. We found our way to the hotel room. We're about to check.
You hear that? There was no protocol car. Not even protocol car. They had to find their own way.
Out. And then the hotel said, check out to where? They've not paid the hotel bill. I traveled with another
They did not pay the hotel bill.
Nigerian gospel music minister. She went with 11 people. I went with 9 people. So I went with 11, she went with 9. So we're 21. So this Ivory Coast, they locked us into the hotel. And this is not when I started ministry 20 years ago. This is about 3-4 years ago, before the Leah Challenge. So a volunteer was crying and saw the way we were treated, said, you know what, I'll stand surety, let them go. We packed our bags, stayed outside, stopped taxis, put our monies together, went to the airport, we're about to fly. We said, you know what, let's even go, don't worry.
You see, this is drama. Now, this was drama. According to what he explained, it was actually a scene. Imagine the newspapers saying, Minister Bassey came, and when it comes to newspapers, sometimes they won't even be saying the actual thing that happened. They'll be saying, Minister Bassey is refusing to pay for the hotel. He's refusing. He's saying, I'm a minister. I'm not supposed to pay. Imagine the embarrassment. And what it will do to the body of Christ. What people will think. They will say, these guys, they are fake. These fake people. This is all because there was no money. They didn't charge.
My wife was pregnant she's sitting here, for Zoe, had a little son. And then we couldn't reach the people. She was so hurt. And she, for the first time, people don't know what ministers go through. My wife said, can you give me the phone to
She was pregnant.
Talk to them. I want to just pray for them. I said, no, honey, don't worry. You won't pray for them. So we're about to fly, and Arik Airline then, we went to check in. He said, where are you going to? He said, people don't have flight. They've not paid. So we sat down at the airport. Thank God we visited the ambassador. So we called the ambassador, said, beg Arik. So anyway, they begged Arik. They took us on credit, seized our bags.
You see, all these things, they had to talk to the ambassador. Whatever the reason, they had to get to the ambassador, but still, they had to get to their ambassador or their country.
So we came back. We paid all the flight tickets for our team. And I wouldn't just pay flight ticket. I would, from my finances.
From my finances. Can you hear what he's saying?
Give every one of them.
You see now? So he was using his own finances. All these things, all this drama, all this scene. It was because they didn't charge. This is very serious. Why? Because I think you have heard what some ministers go through by not charging. It's an issue. It's an issue between pastors and ministers. Some pastors are saying they should not charge. Some are saying they should charge. Even the ministers, some are saying we should not charge. Some are saying we should charge. So let's hear what this man of God is saying about this whole thing. Because some are now saying there are two things. There's music ministry and then there's music industry. This kind of teaching, I think, okay, let's hear this teaching. And when we hear this, I'm going to be telling you what I think about what this man of God was saying.
It's different from music industry.
In music ministry, it's about rendering sacred service first to God and then the people. The Levites in the Old Testament were called to minister first to God and his people. But in the music ministry, it's about rendering entertainment. Say entertainment. It's
So now they are starting to differentiate between music ministry and music industry. He is saying music ministry is about ministering to God, it's about it's the right thing to do. Then music industry is just for entertainment, for people to just enjoy.
Different. In music ministry, service is the mentality. Say service. In music industry, you have a celebrity mentality.
You see now? So it's like let's continue.
So when you are called as a music minister, you have a servant's heart.
So now they are talking about servant heart. But as for men of God, most of these men of God, they take money. I want to be honest and I want to be open about this. Men of God take money. So I think it's now sort of a competition now between men of God and praise and worship people. These guys who are into music. It's now a competition now. So now they are now crying foul and they are now starting to give teaching, saying if you are doing ministry, if you are doing industry, you are being sort of carnal, you are sort of getting into. But remember, these guys, they also have expenses. They also have a life to live outside the ministry.
But in the music industry, you have a celebrity mentality. In music ministry, it's about Jesus. Say it's about Jesus. In music industry, it's about the artist. The artist is the one in focus. In music ministry, it's about pleasing the Lord. In music industry, it's about pleasing the fans. Now, if you don't understand these things, then you act anyhow. In industry, it's about image. It's about your branding, your panache.
Yes, but still, everyone is doing that. Even him, as a minister, as a man of God, they are also doing these things. They are making sure that they've got a nice brand. All these. Look at the church now. Look at the church. All those flowers, even the way he is dressing. That decoration that is behind him. That is branding. It's all about branding, guys. I don't think there's anything wrong with someone trying to make sure that they work on their brand. Even the Bible says a good name is to be chosen above all riches. It's talking about branding. So there's nothing wrong with branding yourself. But these guys are now trying to talk down ministers of the gospel, talking them down to try and make sure that these guys, they are now having a big head. In my language, you say, you're now starting to get to take money like them. That's why they're now starting to talk you down and telling you that if you are trying to take some money, you are trying to do this, you are doing branding, you are doing nice things, you are living lavishly, it becomes a problem to them.
But in ministry, it's about his name.
Everything is about his name, man of God. Everything is about his name. So it stops being about him because he is wearing a nice suit, because this music minister now has a nice suits and his team is wearing a uniform and he's now traveling business class. That's when it ceases or it stops from being service to God. It becomes service to you simply because you're living lavishly. But as for you, you also do that. Men of God do that. I don't have a problem with anyone else living lavishly. But the issue is, if you are saying I should not live lavishly because it's now affecting the money that you are also taking. I don't know. Let's talk about this.
His name is your brand.
It's true. I agree with you on this one.
In industry, it's about CD sales, the charts, the hits. But in ministry, it's about his glory, the souls of men.
Yes, that's true. It's always about that. But if you are having hits, it's a good thing. If you're having hits, if you're having top charts and all that stuff, it's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
And the kingdom. If you want to clap, clap. So how you see yourself determines how you act. So if you have a celebrity mentality, then you will have a pay me, I want to charge mentality.
So you see, the issue is, if you have got a celebrity mentality, that's when you start charging. So that's where the problem is. They are starting to have problems with ministers because they are saying when you have this celebrity mentality, obviously you become a celebrity. You become a celebrity. Even them, pastors, men of God, they are celebrities. What is a celebrity? A celebrity is someone, when we meet them, we know them, or someone knows them, or everybody knows them. That's a celebrity. So even the pastors, they are also acting like celebrities because they are actually celebrities. You cannot deny that.
We are called in driving the narrative of ministry. Ministry is a combination of ministry and industry. God has called you to do ministry, which is to bless lives, but He routes you through a platform professionally, which is called an industry. Ministry is anything done triggered by the love of Christ, but done towards the advancement of God's kingdom. Industry is the professional platform where professionals find expression. Without industry, your ministry won't find expression. Instagram is not ministry, it's industry. YouTube is industry. This microphone is industry. Music in itself is not a ministry, it's a tool for ministry.
Hey, did you hear what he said? I think this one explained it in detail. I don't think there's anything that I can add here.
Every time I talk about this, I was at Dr. Nenche invited me to share at the Music Ministers Conference. So, and every time I share this, I get into trouble with fellow established music ministers. I'm persecuted seriously. But it's okay. So Dr. Nenche said, come and share with us your revelation behind not charging. So I wrote 10 reasons why I don't charge. It's on YouTube. So I read it out. And after the meeting, some group of music ministers gathered in the church. So, my administrative person came to me and said, what message did you preach? He said, some people are angry with you. I said, no, I never, and like Dunsi said, I never teach it as a blanket rule.
So, we now have two different type of gospel musicians. We've got the people who charge and the people who don't charge. And the people who are not charging, some of them are attacking the people who are charging. And those who are not charging are also attacking those who are not charging. So it becomes a problem now. Prophets, pastors, apostles, some are even attacking those who are charging. Why? Because they are not first to pay the musicians first before they come to their conferences. There's one thing that I have realized about some men of God. Some men of God, they enjoy free things. Some men of God, they enjoy free things. They need to understand some things. People are not all coming to serve. It's a good thing. If you are in your church and if you agree that this guy is coming and is coming to serve, yes, that's a good thing. Some of us, we serve in our churches. But if you are coming to me and you're saying, my friend, I want you to do this for me, I can charge you, even if I'm using that same gift in my church for free. If you come to me, I can tell you that this is how much I am charging, because I'm not going to be eating, your thank you. You understand? Yes, you can say, God is going to bless you and all that stuff. Yes, we know. But if we are going to be doing that, you'll be used. A lot of people are very, very bitter nowadays because they've been used by men of God. And when a man of God comes to you, he comes to you and then he uses you. He asks you to come to his church and do whatever he wants you to do. You do that. And when his church goes or grows, that guy will leave you. And you look for someone else who is better than you and go. And they continue to do that. I have met a lot of people who are very bitter. They've been used by men of God. I've heard a lot of people saying men of God can use you for nothing. They can just use you and they will tell you that God is going to bless you. Yes, we know God is going to bless us, but that's not how it works. We've got rents to pay. We've got flies to pay for. You understand? We can't go to Fly Emirates like I said earlier. We can't go to Fly Emirates and say, I am a minister, I serve in this church, can you do this for me? Yes, if I'm serving in my church, yes. But if I'm coming to your church, what makes you think that I'm supposed to be serving in every church? Because if I'm serving in every church that invite me, so how am I going to be making money for me and my family? Because I've got kids that need to eat. You see, so it becomes a problem now, because the music ministers are now saying, give me money for me to come to your church. And it becomes a very big problem, simply because the pastor is going to arrange a conference. And some of them, when they are doing these things, let me be honest, some pastors, when they are arranging conferences, they are not conferences for conferences in the conference sense. They are doing it because they know conferences will give them money. If it is a weekly conference, if it is a week-long conference or a 3 days long conference, they are going to be coming out of that place with a lot of money, millions of naira, probably tens of thousands of US dollars, or even millions of rand. They are going to get money. So what they do is they say, let's invite this music minister so that our conference will be big. You know, they put the minister on the flyer, right? The host is going to make money. The invited pastor is going to make money. But the guy who is being invited to come and sing, they say you have to sing it for free because you are doing ministry. But also everyone is doing ministry. If you are preaching, you are also doing ministry. How about the other guy who is coming to sing? And he's going to be bringing his choir. He's going to be bringing his team. He's going to be leaving his work, whatever he's doing. All right, let's say you're saying, okay, he's not supposed to be making money by singing. He should be making money by doing something else. Okay, so let's say he's got a business. He's selling laptops. He's selling microphones or whatever, right? He's going to be leaving all that and he's going to be coming to your church for that week. He's going to be staying in a hotel, probably in a country where he doesn't stay. He's going to need money. He's going to be going back to his wife, and his wife is going to say, Daddy, you're not here. We need the sugar. There's no sugar in the house. There's no cooking oil in the house. What is he going to do? So, as for me, respectively, I'm not trying to say there's a problem with people who are not charging and there's a problem with people who are charging. I am just saying we don't need to be fighting about this. If God has spoken to you and if you have heard him clearly saying it, I don't think there's any reason for you to stop other people from doing whatever they are doing, because they also have their own dealings with God. You understand? So, I don't know. I'd like you guys to tell me what you think in the comments, but this is what also Minister Bassey said.
And like Dunsi said, I never teach it as a blanket rule. So is this whole model is, what has God called you to do?
Easy now. So he is saying, I am not saying this one is a blanket rule. This is what God has spoken to me. Specifically me. This is the instruction that I got. So as for you, if your instruction is go and do it, yes, you can go and do it. So there's no need for you to be attacking. As for Minister Bass, I think if only everybody was working in this way, there wouldn't be any issue around this.
So the argument some of my colleagues say is, but we have a group of people who don't charge and the presence of God is as heavy as it is. I say that's not the issue. That's not the issue, whether they are present.
So you see now, some people, they actually tell, some men of God are now sort of telling these gospel ministers that if you are charging, it means you don't have the presence of God. It seems as if like it's some kind of a cult or something like that. Okay, if you tell the music minister not to charge, how is he going to survive? Remember, he has got a life after that stage, after holding the mic for 10 minutes like other ministers are saying. He holds the mic for 10 minutes in Cote d'Ivoire. What is he going to eat? How is he going to get back home? Is he now?
Is stronger or not, is that what is God using you to do?
Is he now? He's now saying it's all about what God is using you to do. It's not about you attacking other people, saying, as for me, God told me. So since God told me, that means everyone else has to follow what God told me.
For me, he told me he would take me to nations, that as I play over them, the nations will be open, the heavens will be open nations. I was in Orlando, Florida to minister for William McDowell. And God has kept his word when he said, don't charge. I've seen him. What is happening in my ministry can only be the hand of God.
You see now? as for him, his ministry is about miracles. Things are happening. People are coming in, probably giving him money and all sorts of things. That's a very good thing. But as a, let's say, an upcoming musician, I'm trying to sing. I don't have the money. I don't have the connection to go to Orlando. I also want to get to the studio to sing. I also want to be, out there singing. I can't do it because I don't have the money. You see? So, yes, to some, they can say, I was told by God to do this. And when God tells you that you're not going to be charging, he knows what he's talking about because God can provide. But how about others who don't have that kind of faith? Yes, they are good musicians, they are good music ministers and everything, but they don't have the money. They don't have the faith. Like you, when you say, I'm going to Orlando, I'm going to be ministering. Thank God for Minister Bassey. He's saying it's not a blanket rule.
It's mysterious. But so that's what God says. He says, if you will walk with me, and I've seen God use us in some coded things we can't share in public. Just asking you to do stuff, travel here, go to this place, go to this government house, release this sound, and certain things will happen. But because I'm using you in that realm, you can't charge money.
You see now, he's saying God said, because I'm using you in that realm, you can't charge. So, yeah, he has got a reason not to charge because God has got a certain way of dealing with him. Not everyone will deal with God in that way. If you are an upcoming musician and you say, Minister Bassey said, this, God is going to be doing this. What if it is to him? Because probably the way he's going to be working with you is going to be different from the way he's going to be working with this other guy. So it is, guys. This is very interesting. Pastor Chris actually said this. We are going to do another video talking about exactly what really happened when Pastor Chris said this, because it's something that is big right now in Christ Embassy. I think some of you guys know that some ministers are no longer in Christ Embassy, and there's a reason to that. And the reason is this issue of charging and not charging. It has really affected other members of the body of Christ. Some have decided to leave other churches. Some have decided to do all sorts of things. So I think it's very important for us to discuss this. I'd like to hear what you guys think in the comments. But like I said, respectfully, we are not going to be against the people who are charging and also against the people who are charging. Because as for me, it's all about what God is saying to you. That's what I think. It's all about what God is saying to you. I don't think it will be fair to say you should not charge. And I also don't think it is fair if we say you should charge, because people are different. God is dealing with them in a different way. So he can't be putting a rule or blanket like what Minister Bassey said. It's all, guys. I'll see you in the next video.